What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another fun gear review. Today we're going to be taking a look at a little stainless steel gasoline stove I got off eBay. It looks identical to the Lexata ones from a couple of years ago. They were all over Amazon. Now they seem to have disappeared. And it is what it is. Very plain, brown box, and it was kind of beat up when it got here. They just put it in a shipping mailer, like a plastic shipping mailer, not a bubble wrap one, and sent it here. I'm not complaining, but I am saying that, a little bit of bubble wrap goes a long way. Now, the seller shipped this from California, and total price for this stove was $49.07, shipped from California to my home in Michigan, so clear across the country, so not bad. Specs on this stove are pretty scant, so it is what it is, but you get a little squishy, feels like it's either rubber or silicone funnel, a little bottle for priming the stove. This is one of those ones that needs priming. This is the second gasoline stove we're going to be taking a look at. And it comes in this nice little carry bag. Alright. And there it is. Now it does have a brand name on it. Oh, and there's one other thing in the mailer. Let me grab it. And that was this, which is a windscreen, one of those foldable windscreens. And that was the entire bundle for $49.07 shipped. Let me get the windscreen out here. It has that same brand name on it, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Okay, see? And this windscreen, it's 9.25 inches tall, 9.25 inches tall, by 33.5 inches when it's completely folded out. It is a decent sized windscreen. That is roughly 8.5 centimeters by 85 centimeters. Okay? Measurements on this little here stove, which is very reminiscent of a Savea 123, is 3.9 inches in diameter and 4.7 inches tall, or 10 centimeters in diameter and 12 centimeters tall. And you can see my hand, this is not a very big stove, so it's pretty cool. Much like a Savea 123. And when you get a closer look, it's got that roaring burner set up. You got your key that also acts as a two-purpose wrench. This open wrench right here is to take the nut off for the stem if you had to service it. And this hole right here is actually a wrench for the nozzle down in there for removing that. Okay? These can fold in like they are now, or they can fold out for a larger pot. And the body, this windscreen, everything is stainless steel. This is all brass or bronze, either or. The cap, let's take a look inside. The cap is nice and heavy. It appears to be stainless steel. But when you look down in there, I don't see a wick. Now, a Savea 123R, any of the Saveas have a wick that go up into this assembly here. And I do not see a wick in there. So I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to run. Pretty interesting. Just let me get this cap back on here. There's no other specs on this. They didn't give me a spec for how hot this gets. No boil times, no nothing. So, we are gonna weigh this little guy with the key, because you absolutely need the key for it to function. But before we do that, I want to show you one other thing. This is going to be kind of difficult to zoom in on. But you see that nozzle there? When you turn this valve all the way open, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to try to keep this as steady as I can. Alright, whoops. See that nozzle opening? When you turn this key counterclockwise, you see that poking up out of there? I'll do it again. It's poking up, down, up, down. That is a needle that actually cleans the nozzle. So pretty cool, just like a Savea 123R. Alright. We're going to start with pounds. And 14 1/4 ounces. Or 404 grams. Now that's a dry weight with the key. There's a max fill line right here just below the cap. And it's all welded. And let me grab my little magnet. This is a rare earth magnet. It's very strong. There's no magnetic signature. So that definitely is stainless. The key, however, is not stainless. What I want to point out is there's some sharp edges on this part here. Right there, right where my thumbnail is. That is super sharp right there. And there's some pretty nasty burrs. And this whole piece was a stamping, and they did nothing to get rid of the burrs. That's all sharp right along there. So if you get one of these, just be aware. Watch out for sharp edges. So, fuel in this. And let's take it outside and see how long it takes to boil 1 liter of water. Here I have some white gas. And that's all you should use in these. You shouldn't use unleaded gasoline out of the pump. You can in an emergency. I'm not saying you can't. You shouldn't. They will gum up the stove pretty bad. Alright. Get a little bit of fuel in here. Let's see how much we got in there. I think I can put a little bit more. Okay. I've got it not full, but pretty close, I think, just below this line. Just down here below this line. So that's where we're going to leave it. We're going to take this guy outside. It's nice and cold out today. And we're going to give it a real world test. We're back outside here at the stump top, getting ready to test out this stove. And I just wanted to show you the temperature outside here. It's about 25 degrees or so Fahrenheit, about 18 degrees Celsius. So, real world test here. Now, the seller did supply in the bundle a little bottle that you can use to prime the stove. But I want to show you a nice little hack. This is just a piece of everyday fuel line, clear fuel line. Well, this is yellow. You can get at any auto parts store. And this, you would just open the fuel tank, stick it in here, put your thumb over the other end. As you can see, I pulled out some fuel, dump it in the tray in there, I think that right there will be a sufficient amount of fuel to prime this stove. Put the cap back on tight. Moved that fuel hose off camera out of the way because I don't want it catching on fire. And we're going to light and now it's burning there, priming the stove. And hopefully that's going to be hot enough to get this going. So now we're just going to wait. See if we can crack that open. Whoa. Well, it's definitely primed now. When I first opened that valve, it squirted a little bit of fuel out. And I think that's part of the issue because it doesn't appear to have a wick in it. But now the burner we're just going to let that warm up. Alright, I've given it several minutes to heat up real well. We're going to open the valve. I think that's about as much, because at one point it'll start going down as you open it, and that's the needle, the cleaning needle, and that's right there. So I think right about there is full open. I have a liter of water. We're going to put it on, and we're going to start. And the air is very still out here. There's no wind. So let's see how long this takes. Okay, we're approaching 8 minutes. Oh, look at that. We got a boil. We have a boil. It's only reading 186 degrees or 85 degrees Celsius, but look at that. I'd call that a boil. Okay, let's turn this down. See if we can get a nice simmer going. I think that'll do nicely. So you got to see it in action. We got to see a boil test. It boiled 1 liter of water quicker than the other stove, which is impressive considering it's half the size of the other one. The sidewalls here of the tank got pretty warm. I ain't gonna lie, enough to, when I touched my finger like this on the more sensitive skin here on the top, it practically scalded me. Even though it was only reading 68 degrees, I don't think I was getting an accurate reading of the side of the tank. It was hot. I'm gonna say it was probably well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But, you know, it performed well. It performed real well. Got a little bit of soot in there. That's to be expected from this type of stove. I think for the price, it's not bad. It has some shortcomings, and there's one safety concern I have with this stove. This stove does not have a pressure release valve. The Savea 123Rs and 123s had a pressure release valve in the cap, to where if this got too hot and built up too much pressure to where the tank would rupture, or maybe the head here would fail, this little valve that they had here would open and let some of that pressure out. This does not have that feature. So some people I've read on forums and stuff, stove forums, you know, they're like, hey, this is dangerous. It's like cooking on top of a grenade. Well, yeah, I suppose, but how long are you cooking on it? I mean, if you're frying something up, you're talking, what, 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes max? If you're boiling water, we saw how long that took. How long are you actually using it? You know, apply a little bit of common sense here. I mean, if you're running this full bore for close to an hour, yeah, I'd be a little concerned. I ain't gonna lie. But when are you ever going to do that with a small camping stove like this? You know? And it is very small. It's very cool. I want to show you something about it here. I have here a Walmart Ozark Trails stainless steel cup. It fits right over the top of this. Okay? It's not a perfect fit. It's a little loose, but you'll get my meaning here. The tank is almost exactly the same diameter as the lip of the cup. But I think that's pretty cool. That's practically a cook kit all of its own right there. So there's a lot of ways you can bundle this up and have a little cook kit. I like it because, as you see in the cold, it doesn't take long to get it going, and it cooks fast, you know, boils fast, relatively speaking, for the weather temperatures. So it'll serve me well. The only thing I don't like is the roaring, you know, Savea type head. It is very loud. It's very annoying. Okay? But before you buy this stove or the other one, I have one more to review. And I think I've saved the best for last. So just hang out and wait for the last review, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But that's all I got to say about this little eBay stove. Buy it, don't buy it, that's up to you. But I recommend you wait until the last review. Thank you for watching, and have a great evening.